like the Elvis Presley and mariachis down there. Her dad's favorite song was El Rey. So when she just named this brand or designed it, she basically named it Rey del Mundo. It's kind of a nod to her father when she took over the distillery. So Rey del Mundo, again, king of the world. A lot of luxury items to me on this bottle here. So the woman, she loves diamonds. That's kind of the theme you'll see throughout a lot of her bottles. So you turn it upside down and you'll see the diamond there. To her, that symbolizes strength. There's not a lot of women that own distilleries down there. Some other features, most tequilas have a cork. The more you open tequila, it'll start to change over time. This does not allow oxygen in, so it'll kind of ensure that your first pour will always taste like your last pour, in addition to a twist top for a tight seal. And then something new in our labels, we're actually the first brand in any category to have Braille in our labels. So it's something that we're pretty proud about to have. So it's another nice touch to the bottle. But again, a really beautiful bottle design. So we have the Blanco and Reposado are the black ones. And then our Añejo will look a little bit different, but it's the two diamonds here. Also the shape of an hourglass, which kind of represents the time in the barrel that it takes to get to this point here, which we'll go over. But yeah, we'll start with the Blanco, and I'll show you some different ways to enjoy and sip tequila here. So, traditionally in Mexico, a very common way when you go to most distilleries, most places, they'll actually serve you tequila in a champagne flute. Reason for that is the best way to get the aromas from the tequila. So because of this nice long chamber here, typically what I like to do, pour tequila, actually put a coaster right on top, let it sit for 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes, you'll get a lot of aromas right here in this chamber. Get a nice whiff, you can really get a lot of great aromas right after that first pour. But just great to swirl it, get a little bit of oxygen going on it. But here, going left to right, and again right to left, you get different aromas going both different ways. But that way you can take a lot of different things like sweet cooked agave, fruity notes, citrus notes, some minerality, you get some nice aromas with different glassware. Another glassware that's very popular, especially in the whiskey and bourbon world, is the Glencairn glass. Another great type of glass to use when you're doing sipping tequila. So preferred method is this guy, and then again, room temperature is typically the best way to drink tequila. So that's where you're going to get the most flavor profile sipping at it on room temperature. So a lot of people like the tequila chilled or on ice. You see some people put their bottles in the freezer. All that it really does is kind of lower the ABV a little bit and just make it quote unquote smoother to take a shot or to drink it. But room temperature is the best way to get the most flavors out of the tequila. So at home, if you're try your sipping tequila in a glass like this, you might notice a difference on the aroma. You do that make sure that when you're tasting tequila. Now, as far as sipping it, why I told you guys to hold a little bit. A lot of people sometimes with tequila will typically just throw it back with a shot, a lime. The amount of time that goes into producing tequila, especially tequila like this, it's really meant to just sip and enjoy and try to get the most out of it that you can. So with tequila like this, I always recommend kind of 3 steps. So the first step is just a small, tiny sip to wet your lips and kind of waken up your palate a little bit. The next sip is a little bit bigger, and that one goes straight back. So you're kind of waking up your palate right here in your throat. The next sip is to start touching different tasting points in your mouth. So I call it the swishing method, almost just like mouthwash. I always tell people to start with a small swish, and some people do that with wine sometimes, bourbon, but you kind of work up to a bigger swish. But when you do that, the more you swish, you get to touch your cheeks, the roof of your mouth, tongue, everywhere. You'll kind of feel the tequila go like this in your mouth. A lot of the flavors really start to open up. You can taste a lot of different notes in there. So when you're sipping this Blanco, try that kind of method, try little sips and then swishing it a little bit, you'll see the tequila take on a whole different flavor profile. And with this one here, you'll get tons of agave, floral notes like flowers, minerality, citrus, green vegetable notes. So very common to get green bell pepper, maybe a little bit of jalapeno, and a nice medium pepper finish on the back end. So the finish is just a super clean, crisp Blanco. So super easy to sip on, but that's kind of the little journey that I typically go through when I sip on this tequila. So it's just a nice, clean, crisp Blanco with a lot of those traditional flavors, but super, super delicious.
Green bell pepper is not a note you hear too often.
Yeah, so I get a lot of green vegetable notes. That's one that I kind of pick out a lot. It's either green jalapeno, green bell pepper, I always get something kind of some type of green vegetal note that's good there on the back end.